The theater lights dimmed, and before anyone even understood what was happening, the camera cut to Simon Cowell's face, still, unreadable, almost frozen. The audience leaned forward, hearts already racing. "Before we begin," the host said softly, "what you're about to witness isn't just a performance, it's a revelation." In that moment, if you felt a chill, you weren't alone. And if you believe music can change lives, stay with this story till the end, because this one will stay in your heart. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel, because stories like this deserve to be shared. A young man stood alone at center stage of Pilipinas Got Talent 2025. He looked no older than 22, wearing a simple white shirt, hands slightly trembling, eyes scanning the crowd as if searching for courage. His name was Miguel. No flashy introduction. No dramatic background music. Just a quiet breath before he spoke. He said he had come not for fame, not for money, but to sing a song that had lived inside him his entire life, Anak. The judges nodded politely, but Simon's expression didn't change. He had heard thousands of stories. Thousands of songs. Yet something in the boy's voice, even before singing, carried a weight that felt different. Miguel explained how he grew up in a small coastal town in the Philippines with his mother, a woman who worked endlessly to keep food on the table. His childhood was filled with love, but also with questions, especially one that never left him. Whenever Anak played on the radio, his mother would go quiet. Sometimes she would cry. Sometimes she would leave the room. As a child, Miguel didn't understand why a song could hurt so deeply. As he grew older, he learned the truth piece by piece, through silence rather than words. His mother had once loved a man deeply. A musician whose songs spoke for an entire generation. A man whose voice carried pain, regret, and hope. Their love was brief, complicated, and never meant to survive the realities of fame. When she discovered she was pregnant, she chose to disappear rather than disrupt his life. She raised her son alone, carrying the secret like a scar she refused to show. Miguel never met his father. He only knew him through a voice on old cassette tapes and one song that felt like it was written just for him. When Miguel revealed that the man who wrote and made Anak famous was his biological father, Freddy Aguilar, the room fell into stunned silence. Gasps rippled through the audience. The judges looked at one another. Simon Cowell's jaw tightened. This was no longer just an audition. This was a moment history would remember. Miguel said he had never spoken to Freddy Aguilar. Never asked for recognition. Never wanted to disturb his life. But when PGT announced that international judges would be present and that the show would celebrate Filipino music, he felt something inside him say, now or never. Not to expose. Not to accuse. But to sing from the heart of a son who had lived his whole life inside the meaning of Anak. The first guitar chord echoed through the theater, raw and familiar. Miguel's voice entered softly, almost fragile, yet every word landed with quiet force. He didn't try to imitate Freddy's voice. He sang it as himself, someone who had lived the song, not just learned it. As the lyrics spoke of a child who strays, of regret and longing, the camera cut to the audience wiping tears. One judge covered her mouth. Another closed his eyes. Simon leaned forward, elbows on his knees, eyes locked on the stage, as if afraid to blink. As the song reached its emotional peak, Miguel's voice cracked, not from lack of skill, but from truth. Years of unanswered questions poured out in a single note. He sang of absence. Of forgiveness he never knew if he had the right to give. Of a father he loved without ever knowing. The silence between the lines was as loud as the music itself. When the final chord faded, no one clapped at first. The room was suspended in emotion. Then, slowly, the audience rose to their feet. Applause turned into a standing ovation. Tears streamed openly. The camera found Simon Cowell again, eyes glossy, lips pressed together, visibly shaken. For a man known for brutal honesty, words didn't come easily. Simon finally spoke, his voice unusually soft. He said he had judged singers for decades, but moments like this were rare. This wasn't about perfection. This was about truth. About courage. About a young man who walked onto a global stage not to demand anything, but to give something deeply human. He said, "That song was always powerful. But tonight, you gave it a soul I've never heard before." The other judges echoed the sentiment, praising Miguel not just as a singer, but as a storyteller. Someone who turned pain into purpose. When asked what he hoped would come from this moment, Miguel simply said he hoped his father would hear it not as an accusation, but as a message. "I'm okay," he said. "And I understand." By the end of the episode, social media exploded. Clips went viral. People across the world searched for the performance, sharing their own stories of absent parents, forgiveness, and love left unspoken. Whether or not Freddy Aguilar ever reached out became almost secondary to the message Miguel had already delivered. Sometimes closure doesn't come from answers. Sometimes it comes from expression. As the credits rolled, one thing was clear: this wasn't just a talent show moment. It was a reminder that music carries generations, that stories don't end in silence, and that even the deepest wounds can become something beautiful when shared honestly. If this story touched your heart, don't keep it to yourself. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who believes in the power of music and truth. Because somewhere out there, another voice is waiting to be heard, and your support might be the reason it finally is.